Hey guys, Blonde Asino or Toxic Answer, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about a very controversial topic on the subreddit, a discussion on the monster Wood Pino. If you guys don't know, Wood Pino has Courageous Strike on both its 3 and its 5-star skills, and it's very controversial because it is the only Nat 3, and I believe it is actually the only non-light dark monster to actually have Courageous Strike on its 3 and 5-star skills. Now, what does this mean for now? Why is it significant? I guess I'll start by saying it's significant because Courageous Strike is really OP on Titans. Obviously, it is like a Titan's skill, and it makes your Titan's damage increase like pretty much like tenfold. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly, by having this monster. And the reason it's significant that number one, it's a limited monster, and I think that's important because it means that newer players and people that didn't get it are never going to be able to actually receive this monster ever again. And I think it's worth mentioning that this monster is now serves as kind of like a gap because if anyone argues that he's not OP, I kind of have news for you. He's OP for Titans. Like he's the strongest Titans monster in the game by far. Now that considering that as fact, because that is, I apologize to anyone who doesn't think that's fact, but he is the strongest Titans monster in the game, and it's not really debatable. But I think it's worth noting that he's only that strong versus Water Titan, which, obviously everyone can't attack Water Titan, but I think that's, while that is true, right? And I kind of want to like be the devil's advocate and fight the other side, as I don't want to just have my video be super biased. While yes, you can only fight Water Titan, I do also think it's worth noting that this just kind of creates more conflict within the clans, because obviously everyone wants to fight Water Titan then, and then that just means that like no one's fighting the other Titans. I mean, it's not that no one's fighting them, but like everyone prefers to fight the Water Titans, and I've firsthand seen what that can do to a clan. Whether it be causing arguments or like causing people to leave to go to a clan where they can fight Water Titan or whatever, it just turns into a big mess. Now, I think the biggest selling point for me on why Water Pinelo is not really that healthy for the game is Wood Pinelo, sorry, not Water. Why Wood Pinelo isn't that healthy for the game is because it creates a huge gap between the players that have him and that don't have him. Now, I am on the receiving end of the Wood Pinelos, so maybe I shouldn't be complaining, but on the other hand, I feel like it's making sure that obviously like it did just come out and it is still like a new monster, so for all I know they could like implement more monsters that have Courageous Strike on the 3 and 5-star skills, and that could maybe balance this monster out by contrast. But I feel like as of now it's basically saying like all the new players and players that don't have him aren't really going to be able to join competitive clans pretty much, and their Titan damage is always going to be dwarfed by the people that actually do have Wood Pinelo. Now this might only be like for one Titan and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's worth noting that because the clan system is the way it is, and I'm not saying that the clan system is okay. I also don't like the current clan system, how you have to fight against your own clanmates, but since it is how it is, it's worth noting that it's just going to drive people away from clans because they're never going to be able to hit that number 1 spot or like earn as many gems just because someone has a Wood Pinelo. So I really think that gap is not healthy for the game. Number 1, because it'll drive away new players. Number 2, because it'll drive a gap between actual clan members. And number 3, because there's no monster, and this is another selling point that I'm just going to explain right here, is that there's no monsters that are even like similar to it. Now you could argue because this is my argument. I've been keeping up with the Reddit discussions and everything. People are comparing it to Dark Gattiso, which I think is fair, right? But at the same time, it's also a little bit not fair because with Dark Gattiso, you have monsters such as Dark Persephone, right? Where is it? You have Dark Persephone. You have let's see. I'm gonna keep going through. I have my examples. I just can't find them right now. I thought that was Sura. You have Dark Mona. You have, let's see. Where is it? You have Dark Sura, right? You have, ugh. Whew. You have Dark. I guess Dark Wildfang to an extent. You have Dark Sea Star to an extent. You have Dark Mandragora, right? And while these monsters are very rare, obviously because they are light dark, I think it's still worth noting that they are very comparable. And there are people, you can make the argument that that if I'm gonna include like light dark nat 5s and stuff like that, then Wood Pinelo is also comparable to something like a Dark Indra or Light Siegfried. However, I really don't think that's the case, and this is the reason being that the reason that Wood Pinelo strives is not because of its single target active, which neither of those have. Let's just pretend like it doesn't have a single target active. It's still and obviously that's like okay. I mean, I'd say let's pretend like it doesn't have a single target active. That's like where half its damage comes from is because of the multipliers on single target actives, which honestly is completely unnecessary. But half the damage also comes because when you're taking Wood Pinelo into a Water Titan, it takes half damage from the Water Titan and deals double damage. Now, this is really significant because not only is it an attacker that can actually tank like tank hits because of its typing, but it also deals extra damage. Now, the same cannot be said for Light Siegfried and for Dark Indra. Light Siegfried and Dark Indra, if they go against Light and Dark Titans respectively, then yes, they are dealing double damage, but they're also taking double damage. And past that, they're not even doing that much damage because they don't have that extra multiplier from the single target active. And if your argument is that you can bring in the Dark Indra and the Light Siegfried into other Titans, then you're still not taking that reduced damage that Water Pinelo does. And although they have increased stats from being nat 5s, it's not like they have. Do they actually? They might have double the stat. I actually haven't done that research yet. I'm gonna just really quickly like look at it. They actually might, and if that's the case, it is a mistake on my part. All right, 17,000, 1,400, 1,900. Yeah, it's definitely not double. It's actually kind of close to double, but it's not double. Which still leaves my point intact. Where is that? Not only are those monsters not surviving as long as the Wood Pinelo is, but they're also not dealing as much damage, especially which is reinforced by the fact of a single target active. Now, I think I've established that Wood Pinelo is unique in its own sense because of its number 1 single target active, number 2 typing, and number 3 skill set. So moving on from that, it's very unique and it's very OP for at least Water Titan and a little bit for Wood Titan. But I don't want to say it's OP for Wood Titan because it is taking that 100% damage and only dealing that 100% damage. So with that argument, then Light Siegfried and Dark Indra are also both extremely broken for Titans, which they are, but they're just not on the level of Wood Pinelo, which I'd like to talk about. But why is having this monster, this unique monster, a bad thing for the game, right? Because yes, it's OP, okay? It has a Courageous Strike on 3 and 5 star. It has the single target active, and what's it called? And it has that element and it has elemental advantage, extreme elemental advantage. But the reason this is bad for the game, and I'm going to refer back to this point, is the gap that it creates. Where I've seen arguments where people are saying that like, oh, Titans doesn't matter. Well, I think that's really ignorant to say because Titans might not matter for you, and it honestly doesn't matter to me at all. Like I'm just chilling with my clan members. I just decided to join a completely casual clan, but it's ignorant to say that it doesn't matter for anyone. Just because it doesn't matter to you does not mean that other people don't care a lot about Titans and want to maximize their damage and stuff. And for those people, I'm sure there are people that really care about Titans and also did not get Wood Pinelos, and I'm sure new players will join that will really care about Titans and won't be able to get Wood Pinelo. I think that it's unfair to say that to make this monster a limited monster because it creates that huge gap where players are literally just not going to be able to catch up. It creates a huge separation between players with Wood Pinelos and players without Wood Pinelos, and I think that's a gap like that is very unhealthy for the game. Now, I did also receive a good point where someone brought up that it is a new monster and it took them like a month to implement Dark Mona, and I can agree with that. But my point isn't that they should like take Wood Pinelo out of the game or nerf Courageous Strike. My point is that something has to be done about Wood Pinelo, and I don't think 433 can just like say, oh, this is just an event monster, you can get 2 of them, and that you can leave them out. Now, I'm not on the side where they nerf Courageous Strike, to be honest, because I feel like it is a balanced skill. I'm on the side where, say they do something along the lines of I don't know, taking out Wood Panel's single target active and replacing it with an AoE active, or maybe even just like maybe even just I don't. Yeah, I would say something like that is good. Maybe changing his typings to light dark or something like that, and just, you know what I mean. I'm on the side of like changing him, but I'm on the side of changing him. But I wouldn't be so ignorant as to say that I wouldn't be okay with just adding more monsters like that. Because if they add more available monsters, regardless of how OP they are, that regardless of how rare they that serve the same purpose and have the same like abilities and are actually comparable to Wood Pinelo, then I think the game becomes a lot more balanced. And they did this through like Dark Mona and Dark Sewer and stuff like that after they implemented Dark Gachito. Anyways, guys, those were just my thoughts. I don't really want any toxicity or anything like that, or anything like that in the comments. You guys can feel free to agree or disagree with me, but I ask you guys to please do it in a civil way. And if I see people just like, because I know this has been a problem on the subreddit where people are like kind of like shit talking other people's opinions and stuff like that. I really don't want that to happen, especially on this channel. So I'm going to ask for civil discussion, and if not, I'll probably just delete your comments because I don't want anything like that in the comments. But I encourage civil discussion, and anyway, that's been my opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.